Hey guys, so I wanted to do this video about what triggered me to actually quit smoking. And I have tried to film this video now. Like, this has got to be like the sixth time. Like, I've had the dogs barking, the kids coming out, family members calling. So hopefully we can get through it. I was at my sister's house today, and she's got a pool, so we went over there for a pool party. And while we were there, she reminded me of like the trigger of what got me to quit smoking, which was my husband had entered a contest for work, and the prize was a family trip to Hawaii. And he was killing it. Like, he was doing so good. And so I was like, I'm gonna quit smoking now so that I'm not, smoking when it comes time for this trip. Because a few months ago, we went on a trip to Aruba, and the whole time, everything was revolving around smoking. Where we were gonna smoke, if we could smoke. It was awful. It really was. Like, I hated it that whole time, that everything revolved around it. But, I was smoking cigarettes. I was addicted to them, and it is what it is. Like, lesson learned. Like, I feel like something was holding up a mirror to me. Like, look at yourself. Do you see yourself? And I did. It was just terrible. So that was a big wake-up call, and that was a few months ago. So when he won, or when this trip came around, I was like, I am not going to go through that again, especially with my kids there, because three stories that come to mind, and they all revolve around airports. But the first story was, I would look up and find out exactly where the smoking areas were, or where it was permitted. And one time there was a smoking like room actually right beside our gate. And so we got to our gate and checked in, or just kind of made sure we were good, and they were starting to board the plane. So we ran to the smoking room really quick, and we chain puffed like a few cigarettes, and then we got on the plane. And I know we had to have stunk, because that room was like a foggy cloud of cigarette smoke. It was terrible. And I even remember like being judgy to the other people in there. I'm like, I'm crazy sometimes. But and then the other story was we got to like a layover, and there was the only smoking section was in a bar that was like on a completely different terminal. So as soon as we got off the plane, we found where our new plane was going to be, and I ran to this other terminal, found the bar that it has a big sign in it, because everybody who's going to this bar is going there to smoke a cigarette, and it says you have to buy something. So I bought a cup of coffee, I sat there, smoked like 3 cigarettes, left, ran back, let my husband come and go, and he went and smoked, and then came back, and they were boarding our flight. So that was a bit, but as we were boarding the flight, I was like, man, like, I wonder if I have enough time to just run and go smoke one more cigarette. It's like craziness. So, and then this last one was when we were actually coming home. It was late. It was like 10 o'clock or 9:45 or something like that when we landed for our layover, and the only smoking section was outside of the airport. So I looked, and I'm like, all right, so if we go out this way, we can smoke a cigarette and then come right back in. Security's right there. So, my husband was like, oh no, because, we only had like 15 minutes. And he's like, it's kind of, I don't know, honey, it's kind of risky, I'm like, no, it's fine. We can just, it's right there. Go right through security. It's not really busy here, and we'll leave, or we'll get, to our gate, and it'll be fine. So we go out, we smoke a cigarette, we come back in, and we weren't out there very long at all. and security was closed. And I was like, how are we going to get through security? Like, I asked a couple people, and they were like, oh, they closed the security gate at 10, so you have to go all the way to the main security gate. I started panicking, like my heart was racing. So we were like, so we ran all the way to this other security area. We had like no time, like maybe like 3 minutes until they started boarding our flight. So we get to the security gate. Everybody's at the security gate because it's the only one open. So we wait, and it was like they were, rightly so, but you know, people with wheelchairs or any kind of like issues where they were put to the front of the line, and I completely agree with it, and like definitely, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's the time. And so we get through, and long story short, we get to our gate as they were like about to shut the doors, get on the airplane, and my husband was like, this is crazy. And that was like, you know, those 3 things, especially that last one, like it kind of traumatized me, you know. And I'm like, I will never again, in my mind I'm thinking like, I'm never gonna go on vacation again, because like if I can't smoke a cigarette and be in peace, like I'm not, you know, this is just crazy. So this Hawaii trip came up, and I just told myself like I wanted to quit. I've listed all the reasons why I hated smoking, and I just didn't want to smoke anymore. But that was like the gunshot starting line for me. Like that is what triggered me, was the Hawaii trip. And so, you know, that was 50 days ago now that we quit smoking. And we found out like a week and a half ago that he actually didn't win. You know, the whole design of this competition was based on customer service surveys and you know, profits and things like that. There was also an area that said you can buy these displays and you can get points. My husband didn't do that. He was like, I'm not going to buy anything to win this trip, you know. I'm going to win it on these scores, you know. So he did. He had won it, and then they pulled everything off of the site that was like a ticker. And then they added in all these other areas, and one guy beat him by like the smallest amount of points because he bought a display. And that kind of irritates me, because my husband had worked really hard, and I feel like, you know, some other guy bought those extra points. You know, he didn't actually earn those, you know, in my opinion. So so we were bummed, you know, and I was so upset, and I was telling my sister at that time, and she was worried that we were going to smoke a cigarette or just, you know, cave, and but we didn't. But I told her at the time, I'm like, you know what, I was upset, but then I told myself there is a reason that we're not going. I don't know what that reason is yet. Maybe it's, you know, it was to protect us from something happening or whatever. So I was at peace with it. And then today my sister brought that story up, and she was like, you know, I think the reason that you guys got excited about that trip and quit smoking, she said, was to quit smoking. Like that was the thing. That was what God wanted, basically, was for you to quit smoking. So I was like, you know, that is so true, and that gives me some peace that I'm on the right track. And so anyway, this has been a pretty long video, but that's the trigger. That's what pushed me to quit smoking. That was my starting line. And I'd be curious, like, what other people's are, like, what, you know, nobody wants to smoke, like, it stinks, like, we all have those kind of reasons, but what was the actual trigger for a lot of people? That was mine. So yeah, so anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome evening. I am so tired. We spent the day at my sister's pool, and I'm just tuckered out. So hopefully that wasn't a bunch of rambling. Talk to you later. Bye.